Further into the outback, the water holes in the parched riverbed are now as much as 2 miles apart. Tiny patches of water are separated by long stretches of sand, caked mud, and dry, stony ground. The good water holes are more and more crowded, and the crocodiles are living much closer together than they ever like to be. Territorial fighting sometimes happens, even in good conditions, but aggressive frontal attacks like this are pretty unusual. Crocs don't like feeling they've been caught on dry ground, but there isn't much choice now. They're forced to move overland to find enough water to last out the rest of the drive. For the crocs who haven't established themselves in permanent water, it's a life or death race against time.
Have a look at this. Look at the way they climb. His water hole's dried out. He's got no choice. He's got to move on.
Whoa, there's that typical freshwater crocodile gallop. They can travel a lot of ground pretty quick, and they go into a high walk, they can climb the banks, they'll slide down the other side, and look at them gallop! Woo! Straight into the new water.
Have a look at this little tacker. Only about 3 feet long, probably only about 3 or 4 years of age. He's got a lot of learning to do if he can survive the dry. He's got himself in a water hole that's just about dried right out, and he's got at least 1.5 miles, maybe more, to get to the next permanent water hole. If he doesn't make his move soon, he's gonna cook.
By now, the crocs are down to the very last of the water holes of the outback. This one's been lucky enough to find a good home for the rest of the season. Unless the wet fails, he'll survive for another year. With the world's changing and unpredictable weather patterns like the El Niño effect, there's no guarantee of a good wet. And if that happens, there'll be a terrible death rate among the freshies. This one's caught between water holes. He slowed down for a rest, and it could be a fatal mistake.
They don't have to worry too much about big predators, but when the freshies keep still for too long, they can become victims for the most unlikely creatures. Carnivorous ants, green ants. They swarm all over the crocs and find the most vulnerable places and bite down hard. They attack the eyes. It must be excruciating pain. And once a croc loses its sight, that's the end of it. It's always difficult to let nature take its course. But as we move off, the little crocodile recovers and bolts for the permanent water. You beauty!
We've occasionally seen dark clouds come and go as we explore the last water holes of the outback. But this time it looks as if the monsoon is about to break the dry season.
As the rain clouds gather, we hear the squeak of hatchling freshies. And as we scan the riverbank at a known nesting site, we're going to wait. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see the hatchlings emerging from their sandy nest site. Deep in the moist, warm sand where their mother deposited the eggs 90 days ago. for the little freshies. Right on their nose tip, they've got an egg tube. They penetrate the eggshell and struggle and push and get their way out through the egg, and then they've got the battle of going up through the sand and emerging and running down to the water's edge.
For the first few days of life, these hatchlings will survive on what's left of their egg yolk that they've drawn inside their bodies. Then it's a fight for survival that will see more than 90% of them die in the first year. They've been lucky to get even this far. More than half the eggs laid don't even get to hatch.
And our wait pays off. They're emerging. Replicas of their mother, these tiny little dinosaurs make a bolt for the water, the safety of their new environment.
Wow, aren't they cute? We just got the timing perfect. A little bit of rain coming over, wetting down the sand, and they just start hatching. This is excellent stuff.
Among the new hatchlings, it's the less obvious ones, the guys with a natural flair for camouflage, who'll beat the survival odds.
Wow, it's like crocodile kindy, where all the little babies that have hatched out congregate. Mum will be around here somewhere. She can't feed them. They've got to feed themselves. And they're basically insectivorous, and they may pick off the odd fish and small crustacean.
The hatchlings have made it into the water just in time. Anything that hatches from now on has very little chance at all of beating the odds. There just won't be enough time to establish themselves in the water before the floods of the wet season.
"95% of this year's rain is about to fall. And in a matter of hours, the last waterholes of the outback will be joined together in the rebirth of a massive tropical river.
Woo! This is it, the start of the wet. What every animal, what every species has been waiting for, the monsoon.
And so this incredible life cycle begins again.
Look at this. Woo!